First Contact and Deception. The quantum alerts rippled through Lunar Base Alpha at 0300 Earth Standard Time. Admiral Sarah Chen was reviewing fleet deployment patterns when her neural implant pinged with maximum priority. An unknown vessel had just appeared at the edge of Sol's Oort cloud, its energy signature unlike anything in Earth's extensive database. Analysis confirms it's not human tech, Admiral, Lieutenant Rivera reported, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. Their drive signature doesn't match any of our theoretical models for FTL travel. Chen allowed herself a small smile. After 3 centuries of waiting, it was finally happening. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, or rather, their first official contact. The truth was far more complex, as were most things involving human space capability in 2547. Initiate Protocol Omega, Chen ordered, her voice steady. You know the drill. Shut down everything beyond Threshold 7. Let's show our visitors exactly what they expect to see. Across the solar system, humanity's true technological marvels began disappearing. Quantum arrays powered down. Dimensional pocket stations phased out of normal space. Dyson swarm components went dark. Within 15 minutes, Earth's solar system had transformed from a Type 2 civilization into what appeared to be a fledgling Type 1, barely capable of interplanetary travel. The alien vessel approached slowly, broadcasting on simple radio frequencies. Their message was clear: they represented the Galactic Confederation, a coalition of spacefaring races that governed most of the known galaxy. They requested Earth's leadership present themselves for evaluation and classification. Chen stood in the United Earth Council chamber hours later, addressing the assembled representatives via hologram. The Confederation vessel carries 3 different species, she explained. Their technology appears to be roughly 2 centuries ahead of what we're showing them. They believe they're dealing with a primitive civilization that just discovered fusion drives. President Marcos Torres leaned forward in his chair. And our actual technological advantage? Conservative estimate. We're about 4 centuries ahead of them, sir. They're still using conventional matter for computation. Haven't even discovered quantum consciousness transfer. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Earth had spent centuries preparing for this moment, ever since the first crashed alien scout ship was discovered in the Atacama Desert in 2247. That single piece of technology had accelerated human development exponentially, not because of what it contained, but because it proved humanity wasn't alone. The threat of alien contact had united Earth like nothing else could. The Archival Division has finished fabricating our false history, Torres announced. As far as the Confederation is concerned, we achieved faster-than-light travel 5 years ago using primitive antimatter drives. Our colonies on Mars and Europa appear to be struggling frontier outposts rather than the thriving cities they are. Chen nodded. My team has prepared a suitable vessel for their inspection. The ESS Venture will appear appropriately primitive. They won't detect the quantum core beneath the fusion reactor decoys. The next day, Chen stood aboard the Venture as it docked with the Confederation vessel. The ship was a masterpiece of deception. Its hull was deliberately weathered, its systems carefully handicapped. Even the crew had been chosen and trained to appear less advanced, their neural implants and genetic enhancements hidden beneath a veneer of primitive medical technology. The Confederation representatives were exactly what humanity's deep space probes had led them to expect. The lead delegate, a tall crystalline being who called itself First Speaker ZYX, moved with an air of benevolent superiority. Its companions, a methane-breathing entity in an environment suit and a more humanoid figure with iridescent skin, followed close behind. We welcome you aboard our humble vessel, Chen said, bowing slightly. I apologize for our primitive accommodations. ZYX's crystalline form sparkled as it moved, its thoughts transmitted through a basic translation device. No apologies necessary, Admiral. Every species begins somewhere. We are here to evaluate your civilization's progress and determine your classification level. The inspection lasted 6 hours. Chen watched as the aliens examined their deliberately outdated technology, scanned their supposedly limited medical facilities, and reviewed their carefully crafted historical documents. Everything they saw reinforced their preconceptions. Earth was a young, primitive civilization, barely worthy of notice. What they didn't see were the quantum sensors recording their every movement, analyzing their technology, and transmitting data to Earth's true command center deep within Ceres. They didn't notice the nanoscale observers mapping their biological structures or the consciousness scanners reading their surface thoughts. Your civilization shows promise, ZYX announced finally. You will be classified as a Category 3 species. This grants you limited trading rights and restricted travel permissions within Confederation space. A monitoring station will be established in your system to track your development. We are honored, Chen replied, maintaining her humble demeanor while inwardly celebrating. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The Confederation would establish their monitoring station, believing they were watching over a primitive species, never realizing they were the ones being studied. As the alien delegation departed, Chen received a quantum transmission from President Torres, completely undetectable to Confederation technology. Phase 1 complete, Admiral. The galaxy believes we are young and weak. Let them maintain that illusion, until the day we need to show them otherwise. Chen watched the Confederation ship disappear into FTL, their primitive wake signature a far cry from humanity's quantum slip technology. Humanity had chosen isolation and deception not out of fear, but strategy. They had learned from the alien ship found centuries ago that the galaxy could be a dangerous place. Better to be underestimated and prepared than to reveal their true strength too soon. The real work was just beginning. Somewhere out there, the threat that had caused that scout ship to crash centuries ago still lurked. Humanity would be ready when it arrived. The stars grew dim as night fell on Lunar Base Alpha, but in the quantum realm, Earth's true fleet remained ever vigilant, waiting for the day their deception would end, and the galaxy would learn just how far humanity had come. The assessment. The Confederation monitoring station hung in Earth's orbit like a gleaming diamond, its crystalline structure catching sunlight in prismatic patterns. Admiral Chen watched it through quantum-enhanced eyes from her office in Lunar Base Alpha, her expression carefully neutral. To the aliens, it was an impressive display of advanced technology. To humanity, it was charmingly obsolete. Their scanning technology is exactly as our probes indicated, Dr. Maya Patel reported, her holographic form shimmering beside Chen's desk. They're tracking our fusion emissions, monitoring our communication networks, and analyzing our atmosphere. All carefully curated data, of course. Chen nodded, pulling up a secure quantum display invisible to Confederation sensors. It showed Earth's true status, a thriving Type II civilization with quantum consciousness technology, dimensional engineering, and a military fleet that could reshape solar systems. All hidden behind a veil of carefully crafted primitive technology. What's the status of Operation Lighthouse? Chen asked. The deep space quantum arrays picked up something concerning, Maya replied, her expression darkening. The energy signatures match the wreckage we found in the Atacama. Whatever destroyed that scout ship 3 centuries ago is still out there, and it's moving. Before Chen could respond, her neural implant pinged. First speaker ZYX was requesting an inspection of Earth's primitive Mars colony. Perfect timing, they just finished installing the holographic overlays that would hide the true city beneath its dome. The journey to Mars took 3 days aboard the ESS Venture, a deliberate slow pace that made Chen's teeth ache. The ship could have made the trip in minutes using quantum slip drives, but appearances had to be maintained. She spent the time observing the Confederation representatives, noting how they tried to hide their disdain for human technology. Your propulsion systems are adequate for your development level, ZYX commented, its crystalline form refracting light across the bridge. Though the efficiency could be improved with even basic antimatter containment. We're still learning, Chen replied humbly, while her quantum consciousness registered the dozens of ways their primitive drive system was actually superior to Confederation technology. The real genius was in making advanced technology look primitive. Mars Colony 1 appeared through the viewport, a seemingly modest dome housing 10,000 colonists. In reality, the vast underground city beneath it held millions, with quantum fabricators and consciousness backup arrays ensuring a quality of life far beyond anything the Confederation could imagine. As you can see, Chen gestured to the basic hydroponic farms and solar arrays visible through the dome's transparent sections. We're still establishing ourselves here. Life support is our biggest challenge. The methane-breathing delegate, who called itself Environment Analyst KRRCH, moved closer to the viewport. These atmospheric processors are surprisingly robust for your technology level. Perhaps a Category 4 classification could be considered. First speaker. ZYX's crystalline structure flickered, their equivalent of a dismissive wave. Let's not be hasty. They've barely mastered basic terraforming. Their development must be carefully monitored. As the inspection continued, Chen's neural implant received a priority alert from Earth Command. The quantum arrays had detected more anomalies, massive energy signatures moving through deep space, following patterns that matched theoretical models of the ancient threat. The tour group reached the colony's advanced research facility, carefully dressed down to look 3 centuries behind its actual capability. Dr. Patel was waiting, her quantum consciousness downloaded into an unaugmented body for the demonstration. "This is our proudest achievement," she announced, activating a holographic display of basic genetic modifications. "We've just begun understanding how to adapt humans for Mars gravity." The third Confederation delegate, a being of iridescent skin calling itself Cultural Observer Nye, leaned forward with interest. "Fascinating. Though your genetic science is quite primitive compared to Confederation standards. We achieved this level of manipulation over a millennium ago." Chen caught Patel's microscopic smirk. Humanity had mastered complete genetic control and consciousness transfer centuries ago. The real challenge had been learning to hide it. The inspection lasted another 2 days. Chen maintained the charade flawlessly, playing the role of an officer proud of humanity's modest achievements while secretly coordinating with Earth's quantum network. The threat was growing clearer, massive objects moving through deep space, their energy signatures matching the theoretical weapons that had destroyed the ancient scout ship. As the Confederation delegation prepared to depart, ZYX delivered their final assessment. "Your species shows promise, but you require guidance. The monitoring station will help direct your development along acceptable paths. Remember, any unauthorized technological advancement will result in sanctions." "We understand," Chen replied, bowing slightly. "Earth is grateful for the Confederation's wisdom." Later, in the quantum-secured command center beneath Olympus Mons, Chen met with Earth's true leadership. President Torres' hologram looked troubled as they reviewed the deep space data. "The threat is real," Chen confirmed. "Whatever destroyed that scout ship is returning, and based on the energy signatures, the Confederation won't stand a chance against it." "Then we maintain our deception," Torres decided. "Let them think us primitive while we prepare. Humanity will be ready when the time comes." Chen looked at the quantum display showing the movement of the ancient threat. The Confederation's arrogance in dismissing humanity might just save them all when the real enemy arrived. Sometimes, the best place to hide strength was behind a mask of weakness. As she watched Mars' twin moons rise through the quantum-enhanced viewport, Chen couldn't help but wonder how long they could maintain the charade. The ancient threat was approaching, and soon humanity would have to choose between maintaining their deception and saving a galaxy that had dismissed them as primitive. The real test was just beginning. The Harbinger's arrival. The quantum alert pierced through Chen's consciousness at 0200 Earth Standard Time. She was instantly awake, her enhanced mind processing the data stream before her eyes fully opened. The deep space arrays had detected something massive dropping out of FTL near Saturn. "Multiple contacts," Lieutenant Rivera's voice echoed through her quantum link. Energy signatures match the theoretical models from the Atacama wreckage. They're here, Admiral. Chen accessed the quantum network, her consciousness expanding through Earth's hidden sensor grid. What she saw confirmed their worst fears. Massive ships, each larger than Earth's moon, had emerged from hyperspace. Their hulls seemed to absorb light itself, creating void-black silhouettes against Saturn's rings. How many? She asked, although she could already see the answer. 7 capital ships, Admiral. We're detecting smaller craft deploying from their hulls. The Confederation monitoring station hasn't even noticed them yet. Chen initiated emergency protocols with a thought. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses silently prepared for war while maintaining their primitive facade. The Confederation monitoring station continued its routine scans, its outdated sensors blind to both humanity's true power and the approaching threat. The first attack came without warning. One of the void ships simply erased Jupiter's moon Europa from existence, the quantum decay weapon turning matter itself into nothingness. The human colony beneath Europa's ice, a holographic deception, had been evacuated weeks ago through quantum tunnels. The Confederation station finally noticed. Unidentified vessels detected. First speaker ZYX's transmission cut through all frequencies. By authority of the Galactic Confederation, identify yourselves immediately. The response came in the form of another quantum decay beam that narrowly missed the monitoring station. The void ships accelerated toward the inner solar system, their intent clear: total annihilation. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense. Chen broadcast on primitive channels, maintaining humanity's deception even now. Confederation vessel, we request immediate assistance. Our weapons will be ineffective against threats of this magnitude. ZYX's response was predictably disappointing. Under Confederation law, we cannot intervene in conflicts involving Category 3 civilizations. We must withdraw to report this incursion. You have our sympathies. Chen watched through quantum sensors as the Confederation station prepared for emergency FTL jump. They were running, leaving what they thought was a primitive civilization to its doom. Perfect. Begin Operation Lazarus, Chen commanded through the quantum network. Maintain emission control until my mark. Let's see what we're dealing with. The void ships entered Mars orbit, their massive forms blocking out the sun. A transmission burst forth in a language that caused primitive computers to crash but was easily translated by quantum systems. We are the Harbinger Collective. Your existence is incompatible. Prepare for extinction. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. That's enough data. Execute primary defense protocols. Show them what humanity can really do. Across the solar system, reality itself seemed to shift. The dimensional pockets containing Earth's true fleet began to open. Ships emerged from quantum space, each one armed with technology that made the void ships look primitive by comparison. The holographic overlays hiding Earth's true cities and defense systems dissolved, revealing a civilization far beyond anything the Confederation had imagined. The first wave of human ships engaged near Mars. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through the void ships' shields as if they didn't exist. Consciousness-guided beam weapons struck with perfect accuracy, controlled by minds operating in quantum space where light-speed delays were meaningless. The Harbinger vessels retaliated with devastating force, but their quantum decay weapons passed harmlessly through human ships protected by dimensional shift fields. Centuries of preparation had paid off. Humanity had developed counters to every weapon they'd theorized from the ancient wreckage. Multiple Confederation ships detected at system edge, Rivera reported. They're watching, Admiral. Let them, Chen replied, her consciousness split between her physical form and the quantum battlefield. It's time they learned the truth. The battle raged across the solar system. Human ships danced through quantum space, striking from dimensions the Harbingers couldn't access. The void ships' apparent invincibility crumbled before weapons designed specifically to counter their technology. Chen directed the battle from quantum space, her consciousness merged with the fleet's artificial intelligences. She saw the fear in the Harbinger's transmissions as they realized they'd miscalculated. This wasn't the primitive civilization they'd expected to easily annihilate. The turning point came when the first void ship fell, its quantum core destabilized by targeted consciousness attacks. The massive vessel imploded, pulling itself into a singularity that Earth's dimensional technology quickly contained. Harbinger Command, Chen broadcast on all frequencies, letting both the enemies and watching Confederation ships hear. You attacked what you thought was a primitive world, just as you did centuries ago when your scout ship crashed in our desert. That crash taught us what to prepare for. We've spent 300 years getting ready for this moment. The remaining void ships attempted to retreat, but quantum space itself had been altered by human technology. Their FTL drives failed to engage. Your existence is no longer compatible with this reality, Chen stated, echoing their own words back to them. Humanity sends its sympathies. The solar system lit up with quantum fire as humanity's full might was finally unleashed. The void ships, terror of the galaxy, fell one by one to weapons they couldn't comprehend. As the last Harbinger vessel imploded, Chen turned her attention to the watching Confederation ships. It was time for a very different kind of conversation about humanity's place in the galaxy. The mask of weakness had served its purpose. Now it was time to show the galaxy who humanity really was. Shattered illusions. The Confederation Emergency Council chamber was a marvel of crystalline architecture, its transparent walls showing the swirling nebula beyond. Admiral Chen stood before the assembled representatives of 50 spacefaring races, her unaugmented appearance masking the quantum consciousness that continued to coordinate Earth's fleet light-years away. First speaker ZYX's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. This deception is unprecedented. You deliberately misled the Confederation about your technological capabilities. We did, Chen acknowledged, her calm voice carrying through the chamber. Just as you deliberately mislead younger civilizations about yours. The chamber erupted in protest, but Chen continued. Quantum sensors detected the surge of biochemical signals indicating fear and anger from the assembled delegates. They weren't used to being challenged, especially not by what they'd considered a primitive species days ago. The wreckage we found centuries ago carried more than just technological hints, Chen explained. It carried a warning. The Harbingers had been systematically destroying civilizations that reached certain technological thresholds. The Confederation's response was to create a classification system that kept most species primitive and dependent. Cultural observer Nai's iridescent skin rippled. We protect developing species from advancing too quickly. The classification system prevents chaos. It prevents competition, Chen corrected. Earth chose a different path. We hid our true capabilities not out of fear of the Confederation, but to prepare for the real threat. A threat you knew about but chose to ignore. The quantum display activated, showing the assembled delegates what Earth's sensors had recorded during the battle. The Harbinger vessels, once thought invincible, fall into human quantum weapons. The dimensional tactics that had rendered their attacks useless. The consciousness-guided systems that had outmaneuvered their every move. Impossible, environment analyst KRRCH wheezed through its methane suit. Your civilization couldn't have advanced this far in mere centuries. Chen allowed a small smile. Unity is a powerful accelerant. When humanity discovered we weren't alone, we also discovered we could no longer afford our divisions. Every resource, every mind, every effort was directed toward advancement and preparation. The quantum display shifted, showing Earth's true face. Dyson swarms harnessing the sun's full power. Quantum consciousness networks linking billions of minds. Dimensional engineering that could reshape space itself. You're all wondering why we're revealing this now, Chen continued. The Harbingers weren't destroyed, merely driven back. Their main fleet is still out there, and they'll return with countermeasures to the weapons we used. Humanity cannot face them alone. You expect us to help after your deception? ZYX demanded, though Chen's quantum sensors detected uncertainty in its crystalline resonance. We expect you to survive, Chen replied. The Harbingers don't distinguish between classification levels. When they return, they'll target the Confederation just as they targeted Earth. But together, combining your civilization's millennia of experience with our technological innovations, we might stand a chance. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Chen's quantum consciousness detected the subtle shifts in the delegate's biological signals, fear giving way to calculation, then to the beginning of hope. A new delegate stepped forward, its energy-based form flickering with interest. Your deception was masterful, Admiral. But how can we trust you now? Trust is earned, Chen acknowledged. Which is why Earth is extending an open invitation. Send your scientists, your engineers, your military strategists. See our true capabilities firsthand. Help us prepare for what's coming. The quantum display showed a final image, the combined fleets of Earth and the Confederation, enhanced by human technology, standing ready to face the Harbinger threat. It was a future that could only exist through cooperation. The classification system ends today, Chen declared. Earth formally requests recognition as an equal partner in the Confederation, not as a subordinate to be monitored. Together, we can be strong enough to face what's coming. The delegates conferred through their various communication methods, but Chen's quantum sensors had already detected the shift in the chamber's emotional resonance. They had no choice, and they knew it. Humanity had proven itself not just technologically superior in many ways, but also strategically brilliant. First speaker ZYX's crystalline form stabilized into decision-making patterns. The Confederation recognizes Earth as a full member, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. We will begin immediate cooperation on defensive preparations. As the chamber erupted in activity, Chen received a quantum transmission from President Torres back on Earth, Phase 4 complete. Begin Operation Unity. Chen looked out at the nebula beyond the chamber walls, her quantum consciousness already calculating the probability matrices for the coming conflict. The easy part, revealing humanity's true nature, was done. Now came the real challenge, forging a genuine alliance from centuries of deception. The Harbingers would return, expecting to find a divided galaxy. Instead, they would face a unified force, led by the very civilization they had inadvertently helped create through their ancient attack. Sometimes, Chen reflected, the best way to unite the galaxy was to give it a common enemy, and then show it a path to victory. A new dawn. 1 year after Earth's revelation to the Confederation, the Sol system had become unrecognizable. Quantum construction arrays wove massive defensive structures through space, their crystalline forms merging Confederation materials science with human dimensional engineering. Ships from 50 different species moved through designated lanes, their crews learning to work with technology that most had believed impossible months ago. Admiral Chen stood in Earth's new Combined Defense Command, her quantum consciousness monitoring 1,000 different operations simultaneously. The massive chamber, built into a pocket dimension beneath the lunar surface, housed representatives from every Confederation species. The Harbinger probe has gone silent, reported Kotau, a former Confederation admiral whose energy-based form had initially been skeptical of human leadership. Their main fleet has altered course. They're coming. Chen nodded, expanding her awareness through the quantum network. The defensive preparations that had once been humanity's secret were now a galaxy-wide effort. Time to arrival. 6 months at their current velocity. They've adapted their quantum signatures, our original weapons won't be as effective. As expected, Chen replied. Initiate Phase Omega. It's time to show them our real preparations. Across the galaxy, hidden quantum beacons activated. Earth hadn't been idle during the year of integration with the Confederation. While sharing their defensive technology, they had also been laying the groundwork for something far more ambitious. First speaker ZYX, now a trusted ally, approached Chen's command station. The Confederation fleet is ready, Admiral. Though I still have doubts about this dimensional warfare strategy of yours. Chen smiled, remembering how far they'd come from the days when ZYX had dismissed humanity as primitive. The Harbingers expect us to fight conventionally, just with better technology. Instead, we're going to change the rules of reality itself. The quantum displays showed the approaching Harbinger fleet, a vast armada of void ships that dwarfed their previous attack force. They had learned from their defeat, adapting their weapons and defenses. But they hadn't learned humanity's most important lesson: never show your full hand until the final moment. All quantum consciousness networks synchronized, reported Dr. Patel, her form simultaneously present in multiple command centers across the galaxy. The dimensional lattice is ready. Chen addressed the assembled commanders, her words translated instantly across all species communication methods. For millennia, the galaxy lived in fear of the Harbingers. They destroyed any civilization that grew too powerful, forcing the Confederation to create a system of artificial limitations. Today, we end that cycle. She activated the quantum lattice with a thought. Across thousands of light years, reality began to shift. The dimensional engineering that humanity had perfected in secret was now operating on a galactic scale, powered by the combined resources of 50 civilizations. The Harbinger fleet detected the change too late. Space itself began to fold around them, creating a maze of dimensional barriers. Their void ships, designed to annihilate matter, found themselves fighting against the fabric of spacetime itself. Combined fleet, execute Operation Daybreak, Chen commanded. Ships of human and Confederation design emerged from quantum space, their weapons enhanced by shared technology. Energy beams guided by quantum consciousness networks struck with impossible precision. Dimensional torpedoes phased through the Harbinger's advanced shields as if they didn't exist. The Harbingers fought back with devastating force, their weapons now capable of penetrating standard quantum defenses. But humanity had anticipated this. The defensive structures weren't meant to stop their attacks, they were meant to channel them. Quantum consciousness link established with all fleet commanders, Patel reported. Initiating synchronized dimensional shift. What followed was warfare beyond conventional understanding. Entire fleets moved as one, guided by linked consciousness networks that transcended species barriers. The dimensional lattice turned space itself into a weapon, using the Harbinger's own energy against them. The battle raged across multiple dimensions, with ships phasing between realities to launch attacks from impossible angles. The Harbingers, for the first time in their ancient history, found themselves outmaneuvered not just technologically, but conceptually. Their quantum core signatures are destabilizing, Patel announced. The dimensional pressure is working. Chen watched through countless sensor feeds as the mighty Harbinger fleet began to fracture. Their void ships, unable to cope with the fundamental rewriting of space around them, started to implode one by one. The final blow came not from a weapon, but from understanding. The quantum consciousness network had decoded enough of the Harbinger communications to reveal their true nature. They weren't invaders, but automated weapons left behind by a long-dead civilization, programmed to prevent any other species from reaching their level of advancement. Transmit the shutdown codes, Chen ordered. The decoded commands, broadcast through the dimensional lattice, began to take effect. Across the battlefield, the remaining void ships went dark, their ancient programming finally countermanded. As the quantum space cleared and the dimensional lattice stabilized, Chen addressed the combined fleet. The Harbinger threat is ended, not through destruction alone, but through understanding and unity. This victory belongs not to humanity, not to the Confederation, but to all of us together. First speaker ZYX's crystalline form pulsed with what Chen's quantum sensors recognized as profound respect. You knew this would happen. The deception, the revelation, the alliance, it was all to prepare for this moment. Humanity learned long ago that true strength comes not from technology, but from cooperation, Chen replied. We hid our advancement not out of fear, but to create the perfect moment for unity. The galaxy needed a common cause. In the years that followed, the classification system that had held species back was dismantled. The combined knowledge of humanity and the Confederation led to advancements that neither could have achieved alone. The defensive structures built to fight the Harbingers became the foundation of a new galactic civilization, one based on shared growth rather than artificial limitations. And in the quantum archives beneath Lunar Command, a simple message was added to the historical records: the greatest deception was not in hiding our strength, but in revealing it at precisely the right moment to forge a stronger galaxy. The stars shone brighter now, freed from the shadow of ancient fears, illuminating a future where humanity's greatest achievement wasn't their technology, but their ability to turn former opponents into lasting allies. End.